Recently, there was a Paterson, New Jersey police officer by the name of Spencer Finch that slapped an unarmed black American male who was trying to see his children. And then he went to falsely arrest the black American male. And as he has him on the ground, he knees him. And I saw the clip, and I was intended to put out either go live about it or put out a video about it. And then I started thinking, like, wow, about all the other things that happened in the past with every incident with police officers and black American men, be it men or women. I started thinking about every single incident, and I said, this is even sadder because I've already made a video like this showing it, and is like a Lego block. But what makes that even more sadder is sometime in the future, I'm going to be able to add another Lego block and another Lego block and another Lego block. How do we stop these Lego blocks from being added on? Is the real question. So we'll talk about this again in the future, but I wanted to attach a video onto this that I made. And this video was called Atatiana Jefferson Must Die. For those who are impatient and can't wait for the ending, of course, that's sarcasm. But watch this short video that I made dealing with all of these cases like this, and hopefully we can come together for a solution to stop this in the future. See you guys next time. Check this out.
Video of the shooting shows 33-year-old City Patrolman Slager fire 8 shots at Walter Scott as he runs away. The 50-year-old falls on the 8th shot, fired after a brief pause. The video then shows the officer slowly walking towards him and ordering him to put his hands behind his back. When Scott doesn't move, Slager pulls his arms back and cuffs his hands. Then he walks briskly back to where he fired the shots, picks up an object, and returns the 30 feet or so back to Scott before dropping the object by his feet. Saturday's shooting followed a routine traffic stop over a faulty brake light. It comes at a time when Americans grapple with issues of trust between law enforcement and minority communities after a series of deaths of unarmed black men at the hands of police.
No music this time. I was a very curious kid. Annoyingly curious. I would ask my mother so many questions. One of those questions were, why don't ants kill anteaters? If I were to stand there and cover myself in ants as anteaters do, surely I'll be hurt. Being the age I am now, I see how my mother would just struggle for answers. But at least she tried. Speaking of trying, I myself struggled on what to name this video. There were 2 choices. As you can see the title of the video now, none of them made the final cut. But the 2 choices were, I'm a cat and cops are pussy. Hearing the latter title, you already know I gives no fucks about being demonetized, as I'm sure that was enough to get me demonetized. But let's explore the first title, I'm a cat. One of the reasons I thought of that is because of all of the lives. They say cats have 9 lives, and I was sitting here looking back over my one life and seeing, did I really have 9 lives? An example. I remember taking a toy gun to school when I was 14 years old. I remember my 8th grade teacher saying, John, and she got into me because she cared about me. She told me all the laws and how I could have been in so much trouble because it looked so real. And she called my mom, my 8th grade teacher by the name of Mrs. Young. I didn't think it was a big deal at the time, but now I look back. I think about Tamir Rice, who was 2 years younger than I were at the time, and he's playing with a little toy gun at the park. As he's playing with this gun, the police pull up full speed, jump out of their car, and they murder him in nanoseconds. I remember coming back from the military, and it's always a privilege that you can go back to the same poor, poverty-stricken area that you grew up in. And I did. I met my friend by the name of Joe Morgan. I grew up with Joe Morgan since I was in 5th grade, and Joe wanted to take me to the club. So we parked my car on the side of a building, and we rode to the club in his car. We rode back from the club afterwards after I had a lot to drink. And he watches me walk to my car, and he's worried, saying, "Are you going to be okay?" And I say, "Yes, I'm going to be fine. I'll be totally fine. Just leave." And he leaves. I unlock my driver's side door. I get in my car, and the next memory I have is waking up with a gun pointed to my head. As I'm waking up with the gun pointed to my head. As I'm waking up with a gun pointed to my head, I see a police officer by the name of Bird. Bird is my childhood friend. We grew up our whole lives together, and Bird is so mad at me for being so irresponsible of how I could have died. And I'm just like, "Bird, shut up." And that reminds me of the case of Willie McCoy, who passed out in his driver's seat. He passed out with a gun on his lap. Police arrive, and they have their guns drawn at Willie while he's knocked out cold in his car. And I'm watching the police surveillance video, and I'm thinking, if you've been drinking, how do you get out of this? If you jerk one way, the wrong way, you are automatically dead. And you can hear the police verbalize this. You are deceased, gone. I will not hesitate to pull the trigger. And they didn't, unloading 55 shots at close range from 4 police officers. From a man who was passed out in his car, who literally woke up and had probably had no idea what was going on as he took his last breath. Another life I dodged. I just remember growing up. I remember movies, and I remember how police officers would stand out. I remember the bravery of police officers, to be honest with you guys. I remember watching the old movies where you have a retired police officer and he'd say, "I retired tomorrow. I was on the force for 35 years and I never had to fire my gun." Or they may say,
"When a man carries a gun all the time, the respect he thinks he's getting might really be fear. So I don't carry a gun because I don't want the people of Mayberry to fear a gun. I'd rather they would respect me."
I look now and I don't see any chances that's being taken by police officers. I mean, just last night, I saw a couple arguing. They were bamming so loud outside of my door, I thought that they were bamming on my door. Worried, to be on the safe side, I called the front desk and told them of this couple in a very heated argument and was worried that I hope nothing bad happened. You know what I thought after I made that call? I mean, besides me thinking the last video I saw was of a guy calling for his neighbors in the car. We'll get into that. I was thinking, There was another time where this took place, where a guy was out of town working, doing pesticide. And he invited people to his room, and they're having fun in this hotel room. And someone called the cops, worried that he had a real gun. And I remember thinking, as the cops showed up at this floor of this hotel room and put this guy out of his room with the person that was in his room, they put him on their hands and knees. This guy was frightened out of his mind. I've never seen true fear. As he's frightened, I remember thinking he died the moment he decided not to wear a belt. Because if he had on a belt, he could have lived. With no belt, his pants were sure to fall down, and he was sure to get shot, as he did, by the police officers who assumed he was reaching for a weapon. And then I thought, Philando Castile, students called so nice to them. He was the living embodiment of Mr. Rogers, except for Philando had braids and was dark skinned. I wonder would this have happened to the real life Mr. Rogers? For of all the gun laws we fight over in our country, and of all the people with stolen weapons or unregistered weapons that you can put a Willie McCoy into that stack, Philando, he wanted to follow the law, so he had a registered gun. No threat to society, and wanted to make the police officer Yanez happy. So what does he do? He alerts Officer Yanez as soon as Officer Yanez asks him for his driver's license and insurance, that, hey, I have a registered firearm, which prompt Yanez to pull out of his gun. And while Philando is leaned over to show him proof of this in an unthreatening manner, he shot all throughout the car with this no regard for the little 8-year-old girl in the back seat. Which brings me to the present. Wow. All year I followed a case where a police officer went into a guy's home and she felt threatened, so she killed him because she thought she saw a burglar in her own home. Only police officers have a strap over their weapon. Police officers have to pull their weapon out, cock it back. Police officers have to announce who they are, freeze, and through all of these steps, she had no idea she was in the wrong apartment. I can't make that make sense for me. I can't. But what helps her out is that his door was unlocked. That's all I need you guys to remember. As I'm mourning this, as I'm telling my audience that I don't want people to play too much into this super forgiveness of a hug from the family member and it not hold accountable to police officers to do the right thing. A cop enters the yard of someone and they never announce who they are. They walk up to this person and they shoot them in their own home. As the police officer shoots them, this police officer then decides that he should announce that he's a police officer. He opens the door. John, you're mistaken. This isn't what was shown in Tatiana's case. What are you talking about? How about I just show you?
The deputy was soon greeted by the homeowner, who immediately jerked open the door, presented a handgun, and pointed it directly at the deputy, at which time the deputy fired at least one shot.
Sheriff's office! Drop the gun now! Let me see your hands! Yeah, throw the gun out the door. Let me see your hands.
Who are you?
Yeah, you pointed a gun at me.
Who are you?
The sheriff's office.
What are you here for?
Because we got an alarm call.
Oh my God, call the cops, please.
I am the cops.
Call the ambulance, please.
All right, where's the gun? Where's the gun? All right, don't move it. Are you the only one here?
What's wrong with you, man? Get the ambulance here.
Where are you hit?
And my groin and my chest. What you doing, man?
You pointed a gun at me, man.
You were in my house.
Well, send me 1051. I rang your doorbell because we got an alarm
really
call.
bad in my groin.
Oh my God.
Okay.
I saw lights and I heard the doorbell ring and I got it with my gun. I'm a concealed weapons guy.
Okay.
Get the ambulance here, man. I'm gonna die.
No,
Hurry.
you're not. You're not going to die.
Why did you do that?
Because you pointed a gun at me,
Dude,
man.
you came to my house at 12 o'clock at night. I'm sleeping. God damn, I gotta protect my house. Oh my God. Get the ambulance
Go
here,
ahead.
man. I'm gonna die.
They're coming. They're coming.
You can't believe you did this to me.
This happened mere 2 months, 2 to 3 months before Atatiana Jefferson case. And you see the homeowner on the ground yelling at the police officer, "Why did you shoot me?" And the police officer says, "I shot you because you came out with your gun." He lied. This police officer never announced he was on the premise. He lied, saying that the homeowner came outside with a gun, when you see on the police recording that the homeowner never came outside of the home. The homeowner had a gun in his hand as he's scared that someone's walking around his house. And the police officer looked through a window pane, saw the homeowner with a gun in his hand, and decided he was going to shoot him. And he did. He's not serving any time as of yet. If you look back on any case, there's a valid reason given to human beings why a police officer should have done what they did, and people run with that. Tamir Rice, at 12 years old, should have been shot in a mere nanosecond because he had a gun on him. Willie McCoy should have been shot because he had a real gun on him. Even though the NRA is more than willing to come out and back up any rightful gun owner, you didn't hear a peep from the NRA. Well, when Philando Castile told the cop he had a registered weapon. Innocent man who will never see his children grow up with his loving wife died because he didn't have a belt. If he had that belt, he would have never reached. They told him, "You need to crawl for me. You need to crawl to me." And he couldn't crawl because his pants fell down. I like to put myself in the role of people who oppose my viewpoints. I would like to be them for a moment, so I don't think about myself. I think about how the world would exist if they were right. And if we look at the world, if they are right, Atatiana Jefferson's little nephew destroyed any hope she ever could have. He told the police officers that she walked to that window because she paused the video game they were having fun playing. And she was afraid that some hooligan was on her property. She is only a citizen. She has no right to be afraid that anyone is on her property. This is why you won't hear the NRA or anybody speaking up for Atatiana Jefferson, amongst a different colorful reason. She was wrong to be afraid that someone was on her property as she saw them walking around, not announcing who they are. She was wrong to walk up to that door, that window pane, with a gun. She was wrong. And because she was wrong to walk up with this, just like everyone else who meant no harm to the police officers, this is why Atatiana Jefferson deserves to die. In making this video, I remember thinking 3 years ago there was a little kid who took a gun to the park, but I forgot his name. I had to snap my fingers to remember his name. It was Tamir Rice. I had to Google it and look it up. As powerful of a video that was. It's so sad that the same thing is going to happen to Atatiana Jefferson. She'll be forgotten. Oh, that woman in Texas, the police officer shot in the backyard. If someone brings it up, we won't change any laws. We won't do anything because we're so afraid of the side we've already chosen. We are no longer open to learn or receive a new viewpoint. We are drowned in a world where we already have our viewpoints established, and all we do is wake up to justify them. So don't shoot the messenger. Atatiana Jefferson deserved to die.